40,000 years ago, if you were alone at night, you were probably already dead. Because the moment you separated from your group after dark, something found you. Lions could see in the dark, leopards moved silently through grass, hyenas hunted in packs, and a lone human with no claws, no speed, and no night vision was not a predator out there. It was a meal. This is the world your ancestors were born into. And it explains something strange about you. Right now, your brain is running a piece of ancient code that has never been updated. It monitors your social environment constantly. It measures how many people are around you. It tracks whether you're part of a group or cut off from one. And when it detects that you have been alone for too long, it sends a signal. That signal feels like loneliness or anxiety, or that vague, restless pull toward other people that you cannot quite explain on a Sunday evening. That is not a personality trait. That is a survival alarm. And it started on a night hundreds of thousands of years ago when your ancestors discovered something that changed the entire trajectory of the human species. For most of our existence, we did not gather because we wanted to. We gathered because the alternative was death. Think about what the African savanna looked like after dark 400,000 years ago. The animals that hunted us were not competing with us during the day. We could outthink them in daylight. We had tools. We had coordination. But at night, they owned the landscape. Their eyes worked. Ours did not. So humans did what every vulnerable creature does. They stayed together. Numbers meant noise. Numbers meant more eyes facing different directions. Numbers meant that when something came out of the dark, it might take one of you. But the rest would survive. This was not community. This was mathematics. And then something happened that rewrote every calculation that had ever governed human life. Fire. The earliest solid evidence of humans controlling fire comes from a site called Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. The traces are roughly 1 million years old. Ash, burned bone, signs of something being deliberately maintained rather than stumbled upon. Not a wildfire. A choice. But fire did not simply protect people from predators. Fire created a circle of safety inside the darkness. A radius of roughly 30 feet where the rules of the night no longer applied. Inside that circle, the leopards kept their distance. The lions stayed out. And for the first time in the history of any creature on Earth, a group of humans could sit down together after dark and simply exist. Without scanning every shadow, without counting the sounds in the grass, the gathering stopped being about survival mathematics. And it started becoming something else entirely. Something no one had planned for. Something that would eventually build every civilization that has ever stood on this planet. An anthropologist named Polly Wiesner spent years living among the Juhansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert. These are people who still live something close to the original human way of life. She recorded thousands of hours of their conversations, day and night. During the day, roughly 80% of conversations were practical. Who is hunting where? Which water source has dried up? Disputes about food, logistics. But at night, around the fire, everything changed completely. 81% of nighttime conversations were stories, myths, tales about people in distant places, jokes that spread through the whole camp, questions about where the world came from, descriptions of people who were no longer alive but were still somehow present in the circle, through the act of being spoken about. The campfire was not just warmth, it was the first classroom, the first court, the first theater, the first church. It was where humans learned how to be human. And here's what makes this genuinely remarkable. Language did not create the gathering. The gathering created language. The pressure to communicate across that firelit circle, to pass stories from one mind to another, to teach children things that could not be shown by example alone. That pressure shaped the human voice, the human brain, and the human capacity for imagination across hundreds of thousands of years. You did not evolve to scroll through a feed. You evolved to sit in a circle and tell the truth to the people beside you. But here's the part that should genuinely stop you for a moment. For 300,000 years, the gathering had a specific character. It was small. It was intimate. It was face-to-face. You could see the expression of every person in the circle. You could read their eyes. You knew their names. You knew their history. You knew who they were before they became who they are now. The gathering was not just proximity, it was witnessing. Being witnessed by people who know you completely is one of the deepest needs the human brain has. Not admired, not followed, not liked by strangers who have seen only your best moments. Witnessed, seen by people who remember where you came from and will still be there when you fail. And then we built cities. The gathering scaled upward, from 50 people around a fire to 1 million people in a city where your nearest neighbor has never learned your name. And then we built screens, which allowed us to be physically present in a room with other people while being mentally somewhere else entirely. We never stopped gathering. We just stopped doing it in the way our brains were built for. There are more people alive right now than at any point in human history. You have more ways to contact another human being than any person who has ever lived before you. And loneliness rates in the modern world are at their highest recorded levels. Those three facts belong together. They are not a coincidence. They are a consequence. None of this means cities are the enemy or that technology ruins something pure. We did not gather around fire forever. We moved indoors, we built walls, we invented agriculture and writing and mathematics and medicine. Every transition brought losses and gains you cannot simply stack against each other. You do not die of a leopard attack tonight. That is not nothing. That is an extraordinary hard-won achievement of human civilization. But there is something worth understanding about what was traded. The original gathering was not passive. You did not sit in a circle and receive something prepared by someone else. You contributed. You told the story, or you held the child, or you kept the fire alive through the cold hours. Every person in the circle had a function, and that function gave them a place, a reason to be there that everyone else could see and feel. The modern gathering asks almost nothing of you. It needs only your attention. And when it ends and the screen goes dark or the event finishes and the crowd disperses, you do not carry anything back with you. No story that shifted the way you see your own life. No new name you will remember in a week. No fire you helped keep burning. You were present in the room, but you were not there. Tonight, somewhere in the world, a small group of people will sit together around something warm. Maybe a fireplace, maybe a table with candles on it. Maybe just the kitchen light left on because someone did not want the room to feel empty. And in that gathering, someone will say something they have never said out loud before. And the people around them will hear it, and something will shift in the space between all of them. Something small and permanent. That moment is not modern. It is not cultural. It is not sentimental. It is what happens when creatures who evolved to survive the dark finally stop moving and sit down together. 400,000 years ago, your ancestors built the first circle. They kept the fire alive through the night. They told each other who they were. They stayed until morning. You're still looking for that circle. You have always been looking for it. And every time you find it, even briefly, even imperfectly, even around a crowded table with the wrong food on a night when nothing particularly special was supposed to happen, your brain sends the same signal it has always sent. Relief. The oldest signal in the human body, the echo of a fire that has never completely gone out. Hit that like and subscribe button for more such videos.